Rob, here we are ahead of Birmingham. Excited for the prospect, and look, you're still in the hunt for the playoffs, which is good.
Yeah, obviously 4 weeks to go. I think the three points maybe the
Three
difference.
points, yeah.
I've not really tried looking too much, but yeah, look, we've probably crunch time now, Need to get probably a few more points on there and stuff. 4 more weeks, I think maybe 10 points, maybe around that, maybe a little bit more. But look, just play well every week and perform, and I need to put points on the board now.
You called it crunch time. Is this better for you knowing that you now have to win? Because in week one or two, in the subconsciously, you can go, it's all right, I've still got weeks to go. Now time running out. Is that better for you now? It is mind on.
Think it just puts more urgency into it for me. I think what you don't want to do, you don't want to get sort of too far away at the start of it and other stuff. And I've always sort of been up and around it. I've had a couple of probably unlucky weeks and all, as you do, but that's darts. But overall, in general, I'm happy with my game and all. I think I'm playing well. I was a bit flat against Gezi in the second game last week, which I was a bit disappointed with myself. But look, beggars can't be choosers. We have to move on. And like I said, there's a bit of light there now. After sort of 16 weeks is a long time. You look at 4 weeks and I think, right, everything what I've got left now, everything where I am. I took a bit of time off and I look to sort of pour that in now for the next 4 weeks, and I still believe I'll make it.
Yeah, look, you touched on being flat, that this is a common trend here that we're seeing players play well one game, but struggling to then produce, and that even people that have won nights have not hit the heights in so on. How difficult is it getting ready for those three games?
It just depends. I suppose, look, it depends where you are. If you play first, you've got a little bit more time. If you played last, you've got obviously about half hour. But no excuses because we're used to that in most tournaments on a Sunday, whether we play Euro Tour or whatever, you get to the business end and then it's all systems go. Them semis and finals come around pretty quick. You can have a sort of 10, 15 minute turnaround for the last bit. But yeah, it's just a bit weird for me, not winning a second game in it at the minute. It's been unusual, but I don't even think it's psychological, to be honest. Just not sort of really happened.
Again, crunch time. How disappointing would it be to you if you weren't part of that final four?
They did. That's what we look. The intentions is always get top four. Fifth doesn't matter. Sixth doesn't matter. I know we all get paid and stuff, but look, if you're not there on the night where you can do some damage and actually win the trophy, I'll be sort of, I'm going to be a bit bitter over it, put it that way. I want to be there and I want to be part of it, and it'd be nice to go back to the O2.
Yeah, you touched on your game. You said it. You feel it's in a good place. That Rob Cross always wins a TV tournament along the way. But at the moment, obviously, you know you have the Dutch Darts Masters, but there's a little bit of a drought there. How close are you to rediscovering that form that wins you big TV titles?
I just look. I think some weeks, look, with me, it can come down to a bit of motivational. I need to get myself sort of going in the right direction. But if anything, just lately, I've took some time off. I've rested up, so I feel fresher and sort of just try and pour everything what I've got in there. Hitting a lot of 100 averages or 98 pluses, but sometimes they're not good enough. We all get found out, but sort of going forward into these next 4 weeks, it will just be a big push. And look, it's all over after then if I don't make it. So I don't want it to be over. So I need to start getting results now.
Yes, Bobby.
Cheers, mate.
Hi, Rob.
How we
How would
doing?
you compare this year's Premier League campaign of yours to the previous years you've been in? Has it felt any different or?
I've been consistent. I think last year, if I compared it to last year, I can't really remember the rest to be honest before that. But nah, comparing it to last year, I had a massive dull period, sort of 6 weeks last year. Don't think I picked up any points in 6 weeks. Yeah, I did. I've probably managed it a little bit better this year, and I've definitely enjoyed it a little bit more. Also, don't get me wrong, it's always great to go out and play in front of the big crowds, but it's nice to go up there and try and get a performance out of yourself and play well, which this year I would say I've played a bit better.
Yeah, you mentioned that management is becoming sort of a topical conversation, I guess, with the amount of tournaments that are on offer to you guys and the rest of the tour. How much is that now coming into the thinking, especially with you guys being in the Premier League and playing as well, pretty much most days a week, I imagine.
Yeah, I think look, it's personal preference to the individual, really, isn't it? You got to manage your schedule if you burn yourself out, and I have done in the past. I think sometimes I can be hitting the resuscitation button for weeks or if not months, until it comes back and I feel happy with the game. Sometimes it can feel a bit topsy-turvy underneath that, but look. All eight are experienced in this year, and I think if it does just get too much, you do just need to sort of drop a weekend or get a bit of family time, whatever you need. I have to admit, I don't really, if I had to speak truthfully, I don't really want to sort of play 5, 6 days a week or 5 days a week. Um, I prefer to sort of play 3 or 4, really. But yeah, when you get pro tours and other stuff, it is full on and with the traveling. But look, we manage it, and you have to do it as the individual. We're all different. We all feel differently at certain times, and I think I've done that better this year. I've missed a few tournaments in the last sort of 3, 4 weeks. I've managed to sort of grab the family time what I wanted. It's been nice to be home. Sun shining today. I wish I was back with them now, barbecue weather. But yeah, it's just to the individual really to get it right.
You talked about it a little bit with Phil, but 3 points off those playoffs, does it feel like one burst over 2 weeks may be enough to get you into those O2 playoffs?
I don't know. I think I'd still pick consistency for the next 4 weeks. I think if I pick 8 points up, that puts me on 22. They've still got to get points, depending on draws, whether they play each other or whatever. I don't know everyone else's draw. But my next three out, I put me two closer to Gezi, for instance, because I've got him in there, and Michael, obviously. I think minimum I need to win a game every week, just for a start off, and then maybe 2 weeks, 2 good weeks, finals or whatever, or a win. A win would make it more comfortable.
Okay, cheers, Rob.
Cheers, mate.
Rob, in this Premier League, it's only the two Lukes at the top that have a higher average than you. Is it hard to sort of keep that frustration at bay, knowing that you are playing well, but not necessarily converting it into results?
I think look, I've had quite a few 6-5s and stuff like that. I've been a bit unfortunate against Luke Littler the other week with a 1-4-5 going in. My own fault that I missed. I think I missed 2 match starts when I previously played him and all. So yeah, obviously they're hurtful losses. But at the same time, like you still have to sort of rebuild yourself, go up there and do it again next week. So you have to just sort of brush it off a little bit and just keep moving forward. I have chose lately just to have a bit of time off just so I can feel a bit fresher for it, and look, it's important now. It's been important all the way through, but sort of when you look at it and only 4 weeks to go, you can see sort of the light at the end of the tunnel there now, and certainly not damaged me chances yet, but I will need to put points on the board, obviously.
And you talk about time off. How important is having that experience of previous campaigns just to know how to manage that schedule? We've heard Luke Humphries talk about maybe suffering from a little bit of burnout, and it's easy to forget that he's not even done two full Premier League campaigns yet.
I think, look, we all know we have to listen to ourselves, and I think sometimes we look at stuff, or I certainly do. I look at stuff in 3, 4 weeks' time, and I think to myself, yeah, I do this one, I do this one, and I do this one. Whereas before, I would have carried on and I would have pushed myself to different limits to try and get everything what I've already planned or booked or organised to go to. And I think sometimes instead of just following the way you feel 4 weeks before or 3 weeks before, I think sometimes you get there if you're not well or whatever. There's no point going to break yourself for the weekend. Just get yourself right for the next week and pick yourself up and try and get them points on. And obviously, if you're playing the weekend, go in there and have a good ranking tournament too. So just sort of listening to yourself, really. That's all I've done this year. I started to feel I wouldn't say frail, but I started to feel sort of a bit of burnout or whatever, and I had a few other problems at the time, and it was just a good time just to sort of miss a few tournaments and get a bit of family time in, really.
And if you looked at all eight players and the Premier League as a whole, how would you compare the quality this year to maybe previous campaigns that you've taken part in?
Um, I don't know really. I think it's been close. It's been closely contested. There's been a lot of close games with the 6-5s and the other stuff. I'd probably say average wise, I would like to say that I thought it was probably one of the best average wise what we've ever seen or what I've ever experienced. But at the same time, averages don't win certain things for some boys, and it all varies and all it depends. Yeah, when you come to play players, you take for instance 1 week you'll bump into 112, and then maybe the player after you, that person might only hit a 92. Is a big contrast, isn't there, of when you're meeting the players and what's happening. So look, you need a bit of an element of a bit of luck and all.
Cheers, Rob. Thank you.
Is mate.
Hi, Rob. Obviously the game against Van Gerwen coming up, it's a huge one. Would you say it's pretty much like a 6-pointer in terms of football terms?
Yeah, I think look, it's massively important. 4 weeks left to go and stuff, and I'll be honest with you, I need to start sort of making a move now, getting myself back up towards there, at least sort of getting with a point or whatever, probably by this week. You don't want to be leaving it to the last week, that's for sure. But then, yeah, you don't want to be out of it by the last week. So, yeah, massive important game. But I'm actually really looking forward to it. I've rested up. I've had a nice little 6 days off and sort of bit of time with the family, doing pretty much nothing. Back in the gym a little bit, but apart from that, it's yeah, just sort of freshen up and go in there and play well.
Are you surprised to see Michael battling it out for a playoff spot because he's normally already made it through, and I think he's only missed out on the playoffs once. Does it mean that this Premier League is more competitive than any other ones that you've been in, potentially?
I think it's more competitive darts in general, and I think the Premier League's been very competitive this year. In certain sort of cases, I think the two Lukes have obviously sort of blitzed up the top there, and they've got a little bit of a cushion there compared to the rest. But testament to the other sort of six players. We're all close, we're all around each other, and yeah, it doesn't surprise me at the minute because I still don't think Michael has been at his brilliant best, but he's not playing terrible, maybe just not getting results for it.
You got Price in Leeds, Derby in Aberdeen, and then it comes down to Sheffield. Do you think it will be decided there? And would you like to
I
keep
like to
something?
think I could have it done in 3 weeks, to be honest. But no, being realistic, if it goes down to the last week, then now you just got to show your minerals, haven't you, and just got to keep plugging away and get it done. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I've had a few unlucky results, I would say, this year in the Premier League, but I've let nothing affect me. I've sort of managed to sort of not forget about it, because you don't forget about it, but put it to the back of your head and just sort of just keep plowing forward with it. I've been very impressed with myself, with my attitude to it this year. So it's been easier to focus, really.
Lovely. Thanks for your time, Rob.
Cheers, mate.